So I can only speak for myself about what it is like living in the center of Israel. It is much, much different than living along the edges of the country. As you all know, the edges of the country are constantly being battled for. There's constantly wars and conflict out on the edges of Israel. This is for sure. But you might be wondering, what is it like to live in the center of the country? Meaning, what is it like to live in Tel Aviv? Well, first things first, what is it like? You will experience something very similar to what you experience in any one of the major cities around the world. You will find young people, young men and women, older, young, very, very young, very, very old. It doesn't matter. Everyone's just living their life. And for the most part, you're going to find what they call secular Jews, meaning these are non-religious people. They don't follow a strict protocol. And if you've read the Bible or you're familiar with the Torah, then you know there's over 300 laws you have to adhere to be a very strict religious Jew. And that's not the case. In central Tel Aviv, you can find a cheeseburger and you can find all types of parties and beautiful people everywhere you go, including on the beach having fun. And you can still find this in the middle of what you would call a war. In the middle of a conflict, you will go to the beach in Tel Aviv and see people on the beach having a great time. Now, is this a form of escapism? I don't know. I see it as a form of escapism, but whether you're in a war or not in a war, or if there's conflict in your country or not, you're trying to enjoy your life for what it's worth, right? Now, that's what the shocking part is you might hear only about conflict and war in Israel. And if you came to Tel Aviv, you'd go to the beach and you'd go, wait, this is like a little bubble. And that's what I want you to know very clearly, that it is incredibly like living inside of a bubble when you live in central Israel. There can be war and conflict on the outside, and on the inside, everything appears the same. Now, don't get me wrong, typically right after a war breaks out, you see and hear a lot of different events happening, meaning there's a higher level of tenseness and stress around the country. There's a lot of drama in people's behavior and energy, stress, fear, hate, anger, all of these things you sense. In addition, you're going to hear a lot of sirens, air sirens, and people need to run into bomb shelters. And so this is very, very unique. Not to mention the fact you hear explosions happening directly above your head. So it's not a normal sort of situation in central Israel, to say the least. But what you find is a people and a culture that are trying to adapt to a very unnatural, unnormal situation. And you better believe if rockets are being sent your way multiple times a day, then you've got to try to adapt. You've got to try to enjoy your life nonetheless. And really, for young people, young men, young women, they're in the center of the country and they're being sent to the edges of the country to go engage in their military service. And then when they have a break, they come back to the center. And so a lot of times when you're in Israel, if you look around, you'll see young people dressed in military outfits with large weapons in their hands, meaning they're off duty, but they still have their weapons in their hands. And these are very young people. I think you can get a weapon issued when you're 19 or 20 years old. And so imagine a very short young girl with a very large weapon in her hands, just cruising down the street or on the bus or at a restaurant. So it's very interesting. I've never seen anything like it anywhere else. Now, don't get me wrong, I haven't traveled around the world that much. I've been to a few places. But if you come to Israel and you see this, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see the bubble effect in the center of the country, and you'll experience a much different reality along the edges of the country. And I will tell you, be careful what you see on the news, because I don't want you to believe everything you see. I want you to speak with people who are in the regions in which you're so interested in and ask them what they think, what they feel, what they're experiencing. And they'll tell you it might not be what you think, as we're trying to escape the stress of life, the drama outside of us, and just simply trying to enjoy a little bit. Don't forget to like this video down below immediately, and then subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Take care.